Okay, thank you so much for joining us this evening for tonight's Cookie Bites webinar. We are covering cookie basics of cookie delivery, cookie cupboards and pending orders, and just a little bit regarding cookie booths and how to begin to record sales for your troop related to your booth activities. I'm Michelle Johnson. I'm the Director of Product Programs, and Whitney Smith from our team is joining us as well to monitor the chat and help out with things. All right, this is the second to last Cookie Bites webinar this year. It's kind of sad, but we have a big gap of time during cookie booths when you all are very busy doing those kinds of activities. So we don't join again for the next Cookie Bites webinar until March 14th, when we're going to be wrapping up things and talking about what you need to do to finish everything for your troop. And just a reminder, those Zoom links are in Rallyhood and in your online troop guide. And in the eBudde messages that we send out each Tuesday. All right, so we're still what we consider during the program, so the goal getter phase. This is when it's that lull after the initial orders have been put in. So once you're getting cookies, you're going to be keeping track of the orders and collecting money from your Girl Scouts for those that have not been prepaid through Digital Cookie, continuing to help your Girl Scouts with digital cookie platform orders, things that come in, and then providing ways for your Girl Scouts to reach their goals, especially those that have big goals. And that can include for most of you signing up for cookie booths to help your troop reach your goals as well. And just a reminder, the first ACH withdrawal is coming up on March 10th, and that's 30% of your troop's initial order. Troops that have done digital only and had everything prepaid for, likely you will not have any withdrawal. So primarily troops that had big order card amounts compared to their digital sales are those that are going to see some level of withdrawal at that time. All right, so during this phase, as we are waiting for cookies and getting those and then doing cookie booths, just a reminder that digital cookie is still open. And right now, customers have the option for girl delivery for troops that still have that on. That option runs through March 12th, then it shuts off at 11:59 and gives troops a chance to catch up with any orders that still need to be fulfilled from cookie cupboards or from other troops at that time. Digital cookie shipping does open February 27th, and that will include options to order the new Raspberry Rally cookie. And then most cupboards open on February 17th if they've got their cookies in time. The council cupboard operates out of the back of the program center. That doesn't open until the day after President's Day, February 21st. And those cupboards are open to fulfill additional orders that come in from individual Girl Scouts, whether in person or digital cookie orders, and to help support cookie booths. And then cookie booths, council booths begin February 17th and run through March 12th. Troops can do booths those dates. They may have other dates that they choose. They can do the last weekend of the cookie season, March 17th through 19th as well. And again, cupboards open the 17th, if not earlier. Some cupboards do like to, as soon as they get their cookies, they start taking pending orders. Okay, so the first order of business is getting your cookies next week depending on when you're picking them up. But most of you will be picking up between the 13th and the 19th, and you'll want to get that delivery ticket out. And it's very easy. These should be available now for you to view and print out from eBudde. You would simply go to your delivery tab where you selected your delivery location, and you choose view confirmation. Once you pull that up, it'll have a couple of screens that you can see your total cases. You can see where your pickup location is, the details, address, and then recommendations for what kinds of vehicle that you'll need in order to pick those up and have enough space to accommodate the cookies. You can have that confirmation emailed to you so that you can easily pull it up on your phone when you're there, but you can also print it. It does, you can export it as a PDF in order to print it. So some of the delivery best practices. It's an exciting time, but it's a busy time. We have 2 delivery agents. We call them delivery agents, but they're companies that primarily do moving. And they have worked with Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri for many years, supporting cookies and getting all their staff involved in the distribution of cookies, because it's such a busy time for them as well. So their warehouses are full of cookies right now, and these are things that will help make the day go more smoothly for you as well as for all troops. And we just ask that you be prepared and with the things that you need. That includes clearing out your car of everything that's in there, including car seats and things that might prevent, like, give away extra space that you need for your cookies. And just a tip is to make sure that you don't have things like fertilizer in the car, because we can't put cookies near products like that. Our agents aren't allowed to store cookies near chemicals and stuff, and so that we ask that you do not do that either. But arrive on time. Most slots are 10 minutes unless you have a lot of cookies and you've got more time. So it is a very tight schedule. But please don't come too early, and please don't come late, because that does disrupt the whole flow, and it puts everything off when you do that. So please come in with all your vehicles at one time. Make sure you do have that copy of the delivery ticket or confirmation, whether it be electronic or in paper. They're used to both now. Again, if you have more than one vehicle that is coming, make sure you come in together and you're lined up right behind one another, so that they can easily fill up your cars and count at the same time. As they're loading up, the workers are loading up, make sure that you are counting with them and not just letting them throw cookies in your car willy-nilly. It's really you are ultimately responsible for what you sign for when you pick up those cookies. So you really want to make sure that what is in your car is what you're supposed to have. So if you feel like they're going too quickly and you can't keep up, ask them to slow down. If you feel like they're doing something that you're not comfortable with the cookies, make sure that you mention something. And if it's rampant across a site, please contact the council office and let us know, and we can connect with our contact over there. But generally, the sites run smoothly. Just be prepared for delays. Like, be patient with the workers. I mean, they're doing the best they can. Be patient with everybody else, and the weather. Be patient with the weather. So I mentioned that your troop is ultimately responsible for what you sign for on your ticket that day. If you feel like it was too busy, you didn't feel like you kept up, in order to keep disrupting, you can certainly pull away and then redo your recount before you even drive away from the facility entirely. That way, if you do discover that you are short something, you can go right back there and help troubleshoot that and get what you need. Or if you feel like you've got too much, because you don't want to take more cookies than you're supposed to have as well. But yeah, we'd rather you deal with it there before you get home and then realize that there's been a mistake. Okay. You do have to sign the receipt for the packages or cases that are on your order, acknowledging that you've counted and that you've got what you need. If you see them trying to load up a case of cookies and the case is crushed in one corner, or it just doesn't look right to you, you do have the right to say, can you please give me a case that's not damaged, to save you trouble from dealing with damaged packages later. Not that there couldn't be any damages within a case that looks perfect on the outside, but it cuts down on the chances. And some cases they might have a little dented corner, and most times the packages inside are okay, but not always. And we just want you to make sure that you have the perfect looking packages that you can deliver to your customers. So if you're there, you just ask them for a replacement case, if you don't like something that you see before you even put it in your car. If you do have issues later on, you notice damages within the packages within a case as you're distributing to your Girl Scouts, please make sure that you reach out to us via the Answer Center email, and we'll work with you to either take that package off your inventory if you don't need it, or make sure that you can get a replacement at a cookie cupboard. And then if you do notice that you have an overage, you thought you counted correctly, and you get home and you're like, oh no, I do have an extra case of do-si-dos. We'll work with you to make sure that you can get that to a cookie cupboard, and adjust your they'll do an adjustment on their end. Nothing would need to be done on your end, because that's just over what you should have had. Okay, so I mentioned a cookie cupboard. You've got your cookies, and now you've got some extra orders, or you have a cookie booth coming up, and you need to get to a cookie cupboard. How do you find one if you've never, especially if you've never dealt with cookie cupboards before? There's 3 ways that you can find a cookie cupboard location. So first option is on your dashboard when you log into eBudde and get to your cookie portal. There is a cupboard locations map, and this will have map pins on it. So you would go, you click on show map, and it'll bring up a map similar to a Google map, and just hover over the map pins. You can scroll in, you can zoom in, zoom out. And if you hover over one of the map pins, it'll give you details about that cupboard. So it should give the address, it should give their hours, and help you make a decision whether or not that's the cupboard that you that would make the most sense for you to pick up cookies near you or near where you work. Second option is to go in to your transactions tab, which is actually where you place your pending order in the first place, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you'll see a screen similar to what you see in front of you now, and that little map pin that's there, you select there's a drop down. So just to the right of that map pin, there's a caret or arrow that you can do a drop down and select a cupboard that you're like, hey, this is zip code is 63143, and I want to see exactly where this places might be located. So select it from that drop down and then press that map pin, and then it will show you, it'll map it out for you to show you where it's at. And then the final way to find just general information without specific map locations is in your reports tab. And you can go to that, and there's one cupboard report that's on there, and that is your cupboard information report. You can click either the Excel document or the PDF, and that'll give you a listing of every single cupboard that we have, as well as their general hours, location, any contact information they might have in there at that time. So if you wanted to see everything at once, that's the place to get that. All right, so if you found a cupboard you think you want to go to, and now you need to place an order to get your cookies from that, because that is required in order to visit a cupboard. Our cupboards do not accept drop-ins unless there's some special prearrangement with the cupboard manager that you've been able to make, such as a last-minute cookie booth run that you've needed because you ran out of a booth, something like that, if they can accommodate it. But really, we do eventually a pending order is needed for anything, no matter whether it's pre-scheduled or if you just happen to show up. But a pending order is done through your transactions tab in eBudde, whether it's your app or the online version. And so the screenshots that you're seeing tonight generally mirror what the app looks like, because we want them to be in line. So some things will look very similar to your app. Some things might just be shifted around a little bit, but overall these instructions should be the same no matter what platform that you're using for eBudde. But this pending order is, it doesn't secure your cookies, so to speak. Not like you're ordering on Amazon and you pay for it and that's being shipped to you. This keeps your place in the schedule for your pickup and helps the cupboards manage your inventory. So at the time when you place your order, your cupboard may very well have all varieties and plenty of them. And by the time you pick them up a week later, they might not have as many as they thought, and they might not be able to give you all varieties. We're hoping that this year things are generally okay with inventory. Last year we had a little bit more inventory struggles, but just so you know, that when you place your pending order, you will not automatically receive a response from the cookie cupboard managers confirming that they've received your order. you'll get an email confirmation from eBudde that says, here, you placed an order. But you won't hear from the cupboard manager. And then don't always go into it thinking you're going to get exactly what you want. We do our best to accommodate it, but it's not a guarantee. So you go into transactions, you click that plus add button there to the right where the arrow is pointing, and it'll bring up a couple boxes that you'll fill out the information. If you have a pending order, you can always edit it if you need to. If you realize you need more cookies of certain varieties, you can edit that, and we can even edit it on site. The cupboard managers can edit it on site when you come, if they're able to accommodate a change at that time. So let me go to the next screen here. All right, so this is what it will look like when you go to add a transaction. It will default to what you see on the screen here. So defaults to this normal in the upper left, and you don't want to mess with that. You can leave it, but you can also put booth if it is for booth cookies. I mean, that doesn't matter. You're not going to mess with the adjustment or return as a troop. It will default to the cupboard over here on the right, where you see the cupboard is in blue. There's troop service unit cupboard. When you're placing a cupboard transaction, just make sure that that's always the one highlighted. And then the blue drop down here, it will give you all of your cookie cupboards. So you click on the yellow caret to get a list, and then to be able to select which cupboard you are wanting to take cookies away from and put in your own troops inventory. And then once you make that selection, you'll see their schedule below that, as well as schedule notes for that location. And then you'll put in your date and time that you want. The date and time have to be within those cupboards hours that they've got set up for any given date in the system. And cupboard hours do vary based on location and what the volunteer is able to accommodate within their life. So they're not going to be every day, all day, or anything like that. So just make sure that you're looking at that and being mindful of a cupboard manager's schedule as well. So once you pick that, you've got your time selected, that works. You'll go over here and you can order cookies by the case, or you can order cookies by the package. And just ignore that Raspberry Rally line. This is purely an example. You will actually not be able to order Raspberry Rally from a cupboard, but you can do individual packages. And we see a lot of that towards the end of the cookie season when troops are trying to get all those girl orders fulfilled. Once you've got all that done, make sure that you've got add product is highlighted. Again, that's the default above the varieties there. If you click remove product, it's going to take the product away from you and add it to the cupboard. So you don't want to do that. So I would just make sure they're highlighted, but don't mess with those settings. Click save, and then it will appear when you get back out of the screen, it will appear in the screen that has your transactions listed. And it should show which cupboard it is a pending order for, and it will say pending until you pick it up and it's released to you. If you don't want to or cannot pick up a pending order that you have placed, or maybe you placed it intentionally with somebody else picking it up, you can designate another trusted adult to do it for you. I'll go in the next screen. I'll show you how to add a troop cookie pickup user. It's a special role in eBudde that gives limited access to eBudde information, but it will allow them to view the pending order that they are getting and confirm that order on your behalf. Once you whoever picks up the order and it's confirmed and released to the troop, it will not show any longer as pending. You'll get an electronic receipt for that. So this is how you would add a cookie pickup user. It's changed a little bit from last year, I believe. You'd go to contacts instead of, I think, settings. It was settings last year. So you'd go to contacts, and then at the top you can see what that looks like. The top little graph there, picture there. Click plus add, and then you'll get to a screen like you see, or add a troop contact there on the bottom. There's a drop down. You want to make sure that the person you're adding, you select cookie pickup user only, and add in just their basics, and make sure you put their email in there, because if you don't add their email address, they're not going to get an email from eBudde to get them to set up the password to access eBudde to look at the pending order in the first place. So just make sure that you do that and that they can receive email. And avoid adding, if you are already in eBudde as a cookie volunteer or troop leader, please do not add yourself in this role. It will take away your access to every other thing in eBudde. So this is really just people who are not in eBudde and just picking up cookie covered cookies for you. And you want to make sure you save that after you're done, and then they'll show up a lot in the list of contacts. And also, I guess if you do have somebody else going, make sure that you just brief them on how a cupboard works, and that they're going to need to have the eBudde app with them so they can look at the order, they can confirm the order, and then any procedures that cupboard has in their notes, and make sure that they have access to that before they go so that they're prepared. Okay, so whether it's you or somebody else, this is some screenshots from what it will look like to pick up and confirm your cookie order from a cookie cupboard. So once you arrive at a cupboard, again, different cupboards have different procedures and some might have a doorbell, some have a door to knock on, some just have the garage door open and you can come in and they'll greet you there. But either way, their job is to pull the cookies for your troop and count them with you to confirm they are giving you exactly what is in your pending order. And if they need to make some edits, if you don't need as many lemon ups as you thought you did, they can adjust that down on their side of things at that time. But once you all agree that that is what you have and what is showing in eBudde, they will release the order to you on their end through the app. And then you can go in through your eBudde app. If you have not downloaded it yet, I definitely recommend, if you plan to go to a cupboard, have the app with you and not rely on the web version. This makes it so much easier. But in your app, you can go to your calendar. This is a couple different ways. The easiest way is actually on your dashboard. Go to your calendar button there, your calendar widget, and it'll show you a schedule of activities for your troop. You can see the one that has your cupboard order for whichever cupboard, and it should have a blue confirm button once it's been released to you. Click confirm, and that does it. That is your confirming I've got these cookies, and creates that electronic record and puts those cookies in your troop's inventory. A couple different other options. There's another one in the app to get to the same idea, but just looks a bit different. When you go to the cookie cupboard and you actually want to see what your order is as a reminder, you can go to your cookies at the bottom. If you happen to place your order the same way, you access it the same way. So you go to cookies in the middle at the bottom of your app screen, and then go to troop transactions pending orders. You should have that particular pickup for that day and time listed in your thing where that middle screen is there. You click that, and you can see a list of what cookies you have, what you've ordered in cases and packages. So you can count along and look at that along with the cupboard manager if you want. Once they release it to you, there will be that confirm pickup at the top right. You can click that versus going through that calendar option. If you don't choose to use the app, which again, our cupboard managers love it when you do because it's right there. You can get it confirmed without forgetting about it, and everything's taken care of. But on the off chance that you forget your phone or you can't get in because you forgot your password or something, we do ask that you make sure to get into a computer and access to eBudde online as quickly as you can, so you don't forget. You can do it on your web version. So logging into eBudde, and instead of going to transactions, you would go to the TXN transactions pickups tab, and it will show you which transactions that you put in are ready for you to release. So you can do it from that screen as well, and you can click confirm at that point. Some cupboard managers, if they see that a troop has not confirmed an order that was picked up, they might reach out to you and say, hey, please make sure that you click that button just so that their inventory is accurate, because product has value and they want to make sure that they are keeping track of everything. Okay, So another way to get cookies is help another troop offload some of their inventory. And conversely, if you have extra cookies that you're done with a cookie booth and you've got some extras and you want to see if you can get rid of them, you can utilize the eBudde Cookie Exchange. So it's on it's one of the tabs in eBudde for you. And you can just put in what cookies you want to make available to other troops. So you add that in there, and other troops can find you and reach out to you. Once you have a troop that's a match, we'll call the matchmaking for cookies. The troop that is giving the cookies, the other troop would initiate a troop-to-troop transaction, and I'll show you what that looks like in the next screen. But these will just move inventory from one troop to another. If you put cookies on here and you get rid of all your cookies, just make sure to go in there and update and remove your offering so you don't keep getting inquiries from other troops for that. Okay, so troop-to-troop transaction actually starts the same way that a covered pending order is. So you'd go to transactions, and instead of having covered highlighted, you'd actually make sure troop is highlighted. You see kind of below the arrow. Again, defaults to normal. Please leave that there. And then you include the troop number that you gave your cookies to or that you're giving cookies to. The pickup time, you can just put in whatever random stuff that there. It's not as important as the troop and the cookie varieties that you're giving them. So and update that information. You are adding product, it means your add product is on there, adding product to your another troop. Click save, and then the cookie should show up in the other troop's inventory. If something doesn't go right, they can make an adjustment on their side, transfer it back, or we can help you on our end if need be. Okay, so we've gone through pickup, we've gone through cupboards. Now let's talk a little bit about extra cookies that girls are selling during this time, because this is probably maybe the most confusing part. We've got Girl Scouts who are selling cookies a couple different ways during this time when they have cookies in hand, but some might get their cookies ahead of time from you and go out and sell them door to door. But most commonly are Girl Scouts who are continuing to take orders from customers, whether it be in person and sharing that information with you or through digital cookie girl delivery option. And the girl delivery cookies and digital cookie are a piece that you definitely want to pay attention to, how that looks in eBudde and how to deal with those. But anytime you are giving cookies beyond what they ordered on their initial order tab given to a Girl Scout, you need to add it as a girl transaction in eBudde. So you're moving extra cookies from your troops inventory to that individual Girl Scout. So that Girl Scout gets credit for rewards, and also you can track the payments for money that Girl Scout owes for the cookies that you gave to her. And always have a receipt for any cookies that you give to a Girl Scout, even if it's initial order cookies. So those receipt books are going to come in handy next week. And you'd enter the Girl Scout movement, call it transactions, but movement of cookies from the troop to the girl, the troop to another troop, or a cover to a troop is all transactions. And then you can keep track of payments that a Girl Scout gives you through the girl orders tab, and you can click plus. There's a plus pay you can see there, and that can add a payment to the Girl Scout. All right, so just an FYI for those, you have this in your glossary of your troop guide, but sometimes it's confusing looking at all the ways that orders are listed in, especially from digital cookie when you're looking at girl orders. So now that initial orders are done, that tab is closed. It's your reference when you're distributing cookies, but everything moves over to girl orders. So that is the primary master list of cookies that your Girl Scout is getting, and where balances are due, that kind of stuff. So if you go to girl orders and you click on one of your Girl Scouts from the list there's a drop down, it's kind of nice. You'll see things like DOC DLVR and DOC DON. What do all these mean? And it's pretty easy once you remember it, but DOC is always going to be digital cookie. So it's digital order card is what it actually stands for. But if it has, you'll see later in the season, shipped next to that, that means it was a shipped order only. No in-hand cookies, no donation. If it's shipped plus, that means they ordered cookies that were shipped and they also donated packages of cookies. You'll see, see if there's any on the screen right now. No, there's not any of those on the screen. DON means donated order. So that is just cookies that show up in that left project thank you tab and fully paid for, all good. DLVR means it was a girl delivery order from a customer, and those are the ones that are the tricky ones. DLVR plus, anytime there's that plus, it means that was an order plus a donation. So they'll show up a little bit differently. Sometimes you'll have DOC deliver plus and then a donated line with the same order number. I think I saw this more initial order. It's the same order, but they just moved the donation and one line and the girl delivery ones on the line above. Okay, so additional digital cookie orders. Saw it on the screen just 2 slides ago, but how do you know if a Girl Scout has additional orders that a parent has approved in digital cookie after your initial order's been submitted? How do you know that Girl Scout has them and what to do about those? You'll, in your Grow Orders tab for each Girl Scout, if you click on an individual Girl Scout, there'll be the initial order locked line. So anything below that has come in after your troop submitted your initial order. And you'll see the DLVR on there. Those all show up when they transfer from digital cookie to eBudde. They show up, there will be no varieties attached to them, and it'll be a negative payment. So it's essentially like somebody's prepaid for cookies, they haven't gotten them yet. And you have to balance that out with a transaction once you give cookies to that Girl Scout for those. So your clue is if there's a negative balance for a Girl Scout in your Girl Orders tab. So if you dig into that a little bit deeper, you'll see, oh, okay, Angelica has 3 orders that she needs cookies for, and I haven't given her cookies for these. So I need to reach out to Angelica to say, hey, what do you need? You can do that. I'll show you a way to find out what those might be, but you can also reach out and say, hey, Angelica's mom, dad, whoever, I see that you've approved some girl delivery orders in digital cookie since January 30th. What cookies do you need to fulfill those orders so that I can make sure to get them to you? And once you know what those are and you get that Girl Scout her cookies, you would add a transaction to Angelica in this instant with those specific varieties that you gave her. And it will say, it'll have the balance, the total due. On this case, I can't see it. I'm a little $45. It'll balance out that negative and there's nothing more. You don't have to record payments or anything like that. You just add the varieties and the payments will balance out. And so then, and when you add a transaction to a Girl Scout, you can put notes in there. And I would always recommend doing that. I don't have a screenshot of that piece right here, but when you add a transaction, you can say digital cookie orders, Angelica, and your date. And that'll give you a clue when you look in again to say, oh yeah, I gave those to her. Okay, my slide is not catching up here, just a second. Okay, Whitney, are you seeing any screens changing? Because right now I'm still seeing on the digital cookie orders.
Yes, I'm still seeing the additional digital cookie orders.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not changing here. It's changing on my preview. There we go. Okay, so if you want to take control and make sure that you are on top of what additional cookies have come in, say you've given your troop families some deadlines. I will go to the cookie cupboard on February 24th, and I will go to the cookie cupboard on March 13th, and that's it. So make sure that you tell me what you need by these dates. You can do that and put the responsibility on the families to ask for the cookies that they need to fulfill the orders. If you would prefer to be on the proactive side and you want to see, if you know you're going to the cupboard on those dates and you want to pull a report, you have access to some of that information in eBudde. You don't even have to go to Digital Cookie to do it. You can go to your reports tab, and then you'll see all these DOC reports, again, digital order card. And there's a report called Girl Delivery Varieties Only by Girl. You click on the Excel document there. It gives you a couple of tabs, but one of those tabs has the detail for that. And it will give you all your Girl Scouts Girl Delivery orders and Digital Cookie. It's not filtered by date, but you can, so once you have that open, you can filter. If you know that you submitted your troops initial order at 9 p.m. on January 30th, you know to filter down for anything that came in after that for Girl Delivery. And that will tell you all the varieties that are needed to fulfill those Girl Scouts orders. So that can help inform a cupboard order that you need to place, minus any extras that you still have around. So that is a new report that they added last year that I think is really helpful for this piece of it, where troops do struggle to understand what is needed because it does not show up by variety in your Girl Orders tab. I won't do that until you give cookies to the Girl Scout. Okay, so I also want to mention, because many troops are doing cookie booths, that those troops who set up their troop digital cookie virtual booth link have the option to utilize their cookie booth as a pickup site as well. So if you have Girl Delivery as it turned on for your troop virtual booth, you can set that up and customers can go to that if you share it. So say the day before cookie booth or the week before cookie booth, and you and your Girl Scouts want to do a little promotion that says, hey, our troop is going to be at Schnucks on date. Pre-order your cookies and pick them up from us at a booth. As long as your booth is in eBudde and correct in there, you can use that booth and go to Digital Cookie and set that booth up as a pickup site for cookies for your troop. And you just have to make sure that you're keeping an eye on that as the cookie volunteer and prepared to fulfill those orders or have them ready for those people to pick up. So it's kind of like a DoorDash type of thing, but you're picking up, not the dasher, or the customer's picking it up on site. So it could be, an easier way for customers to get their cookies instead of waiting till a Girl Scout gets it to them later on or something. But just another option, probably underutilized, which is fine and it's not required, but you just have to have your virtual booth set up in order to activate this feature. And then if you do have, you set this up and you cancel your booth for some reason, just make sure that you update that in Digital Cookie so that customers are not continuing to place pickup orders for your booth. And then just a reminder that if you do have your troops virtual booth activated and published in Digital Cookie, the shipping link will be searchable through the Girl Scout National Cookie Finder beginning February 27th. So right now, if you go to that Find Cookies Cookie Finder, you can put in a zip code and it'll give a list of booths. At that time, customers will have a choice to find booths, or they can find a troop to order shipped cookies from. So definitely, those are like bonus cookies is what I call them. So if you haven't set this all up, make sure that you do, because your troop could just get some shipped orders that you have to do nothing with. You just get to reap the rewards of it. Okay, so just a few more screenshots of what it looks like if you're doing booth pickup from Digital Cookie. So as long as your booth is in eBudde, they'll show up on the screen in booth pickup in Digital Cookie, and you can set up add up pickup times for that. And there are tip sheets for this in your online Troop Cookie Manager guide. So if you are interested in pursuing that option, definitely look in the Digital Cookie section of that guide for that particular tip sheet. Okay, so now you If you're doing a cookie booth and you've done your pickups, that's all done, that's recorded separately. All your cookies that you are giving directly to customers buying them right then and there, you want to make sure that you're giving credit to the Girl Scouts who are helping with the cookie booth. However, how you do that is up to you. Just make sure that it's equitable for the Girl Scouts, and you do have a process decided ahead of time. But the beautiful thing is that there is an option already preset in eBudde to easily record booth sales to individual Girl Scouts. And it's very important to keep track of all packages a Girl Scout receives from the troop, whether that be a booth or whether that be you handing packages to that Girl Scout, because that Girl Scout wants credit for those packages. But eBudde's booth recorder is a handy option to distribute cookies after a booth is done. There is a how-to video, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. If you need a refresher, you can go back and look at it. It's linked to in the Troop Cookie Manager Guide on page 30. But booth sales do need to be recorded as a booth sale in eBudde in order for your Girl Scouts to earn the patch charm, the booth patch charm this year. So it's one of the 6 charms that they can earn to go on the charm patch, and they have to have at least one cookie package associated with them in eBudde in order to one booth cookie package associated with them in order to get that patch charm. I have to remind myself because it's new this year. So let me press play and let me know if you do not hear the audio on this.
After your troop hosts a cookie booth, it's time to record the results and give your Girl Scouts credit for the cookies they've sold. To do this, you'll use eBudde's Booth Sale Recorder. With just a few clicks, you can record the variety and number of packages of your troop's sales, transfer credit card payments from your digital cookie troop site to a booth sale, and distribute rewards credit for cookie sales to individual Girl Scouts in your troop. To get started, tap Booths in the eBudde app's navigation bar. When the date and time of an approved booth sale has passed, its name will be displayed in gray type, and you'll see the Record Sale button next to its listing. Tap the Record Sale button to open the Booth Sale Recorder screen. On this screen, enter the number of packages of each cookie variety you sold at the booth, any packages donated to a Gift of Caring or other program, and credit card payments in dollars processed through the troop site during the booth sale. Ensure that your values are correct, tap the Save button, and then tap OK to confirm. Now you'll see a screen where you can distribute credit for sales to the Girl Scouts in your troop. The default selection of the Select Deselect All Girls checkbox tells eBudde to equally distribute credit to everyone in your troop who participated. Tap the Distribute button to distribute packages to each participating troop member. The number of packages displayed next to each name will change to reflect the calculated distribution. Note that these values won't always be exactly the same, but eBudde does its best to equally distribute sales credit to all selected Girl Scouts. You can tap the arrow icon next to a name to see the exact number of packages per variety the Girl Scout is being credited with. If you want to distribute credit to only specific Girl Scouts who participated in the cookie booth, just tap the checkboxes next to their names to add or remove them from the calculation. Tap Distribute again, and eBudde will update each selected Girl Scouts credit. You can also manually enter package values for selected names. Keep in mind that the values you manually enter must be equal to the total number of sold packages you entered in the previous screen. When you're satisfied with the distribution values for each Girl Scout, tap Save and then click OK. You can return to the booth sales screen at any time during the cookie season to update the totals or distribution for your cookie booth. Now, if you view a troop member's individual girl orders screen, you'll see a record of the Girl Scouts credited sales for the cookie booth. On the troop site order screen, You'll also see the digital cookie payment value you entered listed as a payment to your booth sale. Note that this payment record is locked for editing on the Troop site order screen. To make any changes, you'll need to return to the booth sale recorder. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so if you notice that when they went to the girl orders to show what it looked like, to make what it looked like once you've added booth cookies, there was a checkbox, a column that said BTH, and a check mark next to it. And that check mark is actually very important. So eBudde knows that that Girl Scout had booth cookies associated with her. So that automatically does it for you. But if you happen to add a transaction, you want to do your booth cookies differently, like you want to add all your booths all together at the end and distribute it to your Girl Scouts that way, you'd have to do it a little bit more manually. But make sure you check the BTH box when you're adding a transaction outside of the booth recorder. Okay, so we talked about this in previous webinars. Credit card payments, as you get ready for your booth, digital cookie is the preferred method to accept credit card payments. And you do have to have your digital cookie Troop virtual booth set up and published in order to access this feature for that, as well as your families to access the feature for accepting credit card payments for their Girl Scout if they're delivering cookies, because you can do both. So if you haven't set that up yet, make sure that you've got that done before. It doesn't take very long. If you're using Clover Go, which is available but not the preferred way, they do recommend getting that set up a couple weeks before your booth to ensure that it is all ready to go for that. And when you do use digital cookie and you're accepting payments through your Troop 1, 2, 3, 4 through the app, those will show up in that Troops in girl orders for your Troop Girl Scout, Troop 1, 2, 3, 4 line in there as in-hand payments. That will have to be distributed to those Girl Scouts. So remember that screen before that says record how much credit card payments came in through digital cookie for that. Hopefully those totals will match up, and those automatically get posted to the Girl Scouts to which you've assigned cookies as well, so they don't have a balance due for booth cookies. There is a tip sheet for the in-hand process, so you can see some screenshots for that. It's in your Troop guide as well, and it really is easy. You can see on the left image here, it's a little blurry, but you'd log in and this blue bar that says new cookie order, that is what you'd click. You'd enter the information and say, give cookies now to customer. And then it is purely a money transaction, even though you have typed in cookie varieties, that's just for calculating purposes. It doesn't take anything out of your Troops inventory. It is just a payment recorder function at that point. So whenever you see in hand in eBudde, that is a payment, no varieties associated with it. And digital cookie payments taken at booths will show up as an in-hand payment in eBudde. Clover Go payments will be deposited to the Troops bank account and will have to be posted to eBudde separately by the Troop. Okay, so that covers all of the things I wanted to go over tonight. It's probably one of our longer webinars. And just a reminder that you can join Rallyhood. It's still open for new people if you want to get on there and connect with other Girl Scout cookie volunteers. And some other places that you can go for updates and support. There is still that Help Center in eBudde, if you didn't know about that. A lot of videos in there, specific topics you can jump to in videos. We have the Answer Center, which is the primary method of contacting us for cookie questions, and a lot of other resources on here. So I'm going to stop recording and we'll answer questions.